He laughed while his brother nodded off, face first in a plate of mashed potatoes, high out of his mind. I wasn't there when it happened. I only found out later, after walking in from work, worn out and aching, ready to breathe for the first time all day. Instead, I walked into laughter. My boyfriend and his mom sitting at the kitchen table like nothing was wrong, recounting their Golden Corral adventure. And that's when I realized everything I had fought for, all the hard conversations, the careful boundaries, it all meant nothing. Let me take you back. A month ago, my life was quiet. Not perfect, but manageable. My boyfriend and I shared an apartment. We split rent. We shared chores. We were building something. Maybe not forever, but it felt like something real. Until the chaos moved in. His mom needed a place to stay. She was desperate. Her other son, my boyfriend's brother, had just wrecked her car. Not an fender bender. He stole it, got high, slammed it into their apartment, nearly killed someone. They were evicted on the spot. He ended up in rehab. She had nowhere to go, so she came to us. I didn't say yes easily. I sat my boyfriend down, serious. I told him what my limits were. I told him that his mom could stay, but only if she agreed to cut contact with his brother. No visits, no exceptions, because I was terrified. Terrified of the brother showing up, of retaliation, of losing our home. And more than that, I was tired of watching her enable him. She wasn't helping him. Not really. For almost 10 years, she had caught him, cleaned up after him, given him second and third and 10th chances. And every time, he burned her down again. She kept being his soft landing, and he kept crashing. So I said, this is how we help him. We stop making it easy to fall. My boyfriend agreed. She agreed. I thought we had an understanding, but 2 weeks later, I walked into betrayal. They laughed. They took him to Golden Corral. He was high, not just a little high, nodding off at the table, practically unconscious. And they thought it was funny, a memory worth sharing, a joke. I stared at them in silence, my stomach turning cold. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just stood there, waiting for one of them to say something that made sense. My boyfriend didn't look sorry. He just said he'd changed his mind, that it felt too harsh. So he went behind my back and broke the one boundary we set. I reminded him, this wasn't just about me. This was about our home, about safety, about respect. If rules meant nothing, then what was I even doing here? Why had I made space for her? Why had I stretched my limits for a family that didn't think my limits mattered? He looked at me like I was the one being cruel. He said kicking his mom out would be too much, too harsh. But wasn't that the point of a boundary? That if someone crosses it, there are consequences? She knew what she agreed to. She promised. Then she broke it. And now, she's doing less than nothing. Let me be clear. My boyfriend and I pay the rent. All of it. She lives here for free. And now she's saying we should do her chores. You heard that right. She said she doesn't want to clean, doesn't want to help, because we're already paying rent, and that's enough. She's not our guest. She's not even a roommate. She's royalty. My boyfriend won't say a word. He avoids conflict like it might physically kill him. His mom knows that. She's always known that. That's why she walks all over him. And now, she walks over me too. I should have seen it coming. But when your lease is up soon, it's easy to lie to yourself. Easy to think you can hang on until the end and figure it out then. But then she asked me something that knocked the wind out of my lungs. She looked me in the eye and said, So, where are we moving next? Not they. We. She assumed, expected, that she was coming with us. No questions asked. Like her presence was permanent now. Like she was entitled to the next chapter of my life. And I realized, if I moved with my boyfriend again, she would be there too. Always. With a suitcase in one hand and guilt in the other. She'll never leave because he'll never make her. He says he won't bring her to the next apartment. Says it's temporary. But deep down, I know better. He doesn't have the spine. He'll cave within a week. She'll cry. He'll panic. She'll move in. And I'll be back in this hell, but in a different zip code. So I told him the truth. I told him I was thinking about getting a studio. Just for me. Not to be cruel. Not to be dramatic. Just to survive. He looked at me like I'd betrayed him. Like I was the one breaking something sacred. He said I was dismantling our relationship. But how do you dismantle something that already fell apart? The minute he chose his mother's comfort over my safety. The minute he broke his promise and laughed about it. That was the real fracture. Now he's playing the victim. Like I'm walking away for no reason. Like I'm just being selfish. But what he's really saying is, please let us both keep using you. Please don't ask me to choose. I won't force him to choose. I already know who he'd pick. And I won't stay where I'm not heard, where my trust is cheap and my boundaries are jokes. So now I'm asking, am I the asshole? Am I wrong for refusing to sign another lease with a man who can't stand up to his mother? Am I wrong for choosing peace over codependency? Am I wrong for moving into a studio alone so I don't lose myself completely? So, am I the asshole? Sometimes, the hardest part of growing up is realizing the people we love aren't always ready to grow with us. This story isn't just about a mother-in-law. It's about control, about patterns, about the quiet, creeping way someone else's dysfunction becomes your everyday life. It's about boundaries, not as ultimatums, but as acts of self-preservation. What happens when you lay out the rules to protect your home, your heart, your future, and someone you love breaks them behind your back? What do you do when they laugh while the world you've worked so hard to build starts cracking open? You move, even if it hurts, even if they call it abandonment, even if it means sitting alone in a quiet little studio with too much space and not enough closure. Because peace, real peace, often comes after the most painful decision. And sometimes, the most loving thing you can do is walk away from people who keep choosing chaos. So what would you do? Would you stay and keep paying the emotional price? Or would you do what she did and finally choose yourself? Let us know in the comments. This has been AITA Stories. Thanks for listening.